Welcome back to another episode of Sports Unlimited, where we dive deep into the exhilarating world of sports. So, in today's episode, we're going to talk about my division standing. So, basically, where each division is going to stand, like first, second, third, and fourth. And then, of course, I'm going to give you a little bit extra by telling you which each team's exciting games or ones that I'm excited for and ones that, I'm like, this is going to be boring. Don't even waste your time watching. Given that the NFL schedule does come out on Wednesday, May 15th, it's going to be an exciting. So, you can watch this in the morning and then go find out that evening that schedule. All right? So, prepare for an episode packed with insight, speculation, excitement. This is Sports Unlimited, and I'm thrilled to have you on board. So let's jump right in. Thank you so much, Panda. So, starting it off with, again, the official schedule does come out on May 15th. But before we see that, I wanted to look at, the division standings for each NFL team, each NFL division, And then, of course, I wanted to give you a little bit extra by talking about the most exciting and boring games for each NFL team. All right? But for your information, just so you understand kind of what's going on and how some of these things kind of got done, all right? And how the schedule is going to get done here in a few days. Today, I'm thinking I'm already like 5 days ahead. Hashtag parent life. But just so you're aware, the NFC will get 9 home games, okay, this year. Because of this, the NFC will host most of the international games that we have seen, okay? We are hosting 3 games in London, 1 game in Munich, Germany, and 1 in Sao Paulo, Brazil, which you already know is going to be the Eagles as the home team against the Green Bay Packers. Which, by the way, if I may add my 2 cents to that, it should have been the Eagles against the Cowboys. I feel like that would have been one of the perfect scenarios at the end of the season to add that game in there and say, hey, this international game that's going to be quite televised could decide who wins the division. I think they missed a really big opportunity there. But, hey, that's just my 2 cents. All right? Cool. Now, as you can see, I'm going to explain to start off how it works. All right? So here's a brief explanation of how the scheduling formula works, which was implemented in 2002 and revised in 2021 when the 17th game was added. So, as Panda just brought out, so the home and away against 3 divisions opponents. Okay, so each team gets a home and away against the division opponents. So 6 games. The 4 teams from another division within its conference on a rotation, which is a 3-year cycle. So every 3 years they play, they replay another division. So that's 4 games. All right, so that's 10 right there. All right, the 4 teams from a division in the other conference on a rotation, that's a 4-year cycle. That's 4 games. So far, just to kind of explain it, all right, they get 6 games, which are the division opponents. So using the NFC as an example, you have 2 games against the Eagles, 2 games against the Giants, and 2 games against the Commanders. All right? Then you have a 3-year cycle of a division opponent, with the whole division. You're playing a whole division every 3 years. So the NFC East will play the NFC South every 3 years. All of them. Then, to round it out even further, they have a 4-year cycle for a division opponents within the AFC. So they would play an AFC opponent, the whole division. That adds another 4 games. All right. Now, there is 2 interconference games based on prior standings. These games match a first place team against the first place teams in the two same conference divisions, the team is not scheduled to play that season. The second place, third place, and fourth place teams in a conference are matched similarly each year. So basically, number one in the AFC play number one in the NFC. Number two against number two, so on and so forth. Now, that's 2 games. So far, you got 6, 10, 14, and 16. All right? Now, how do they add that extra game? Yeah, I went too far down. So, one interconference game based on the prior year's standing on a rotating 4-year cycle. That's one game. This game match a first place team from one division against a first place team in the opposing conference division. That team is not scheduled to play that season. Each division, second place, so on and so forth. Okay, the home conference for this game will rotate each year, with the AFC teams hosting the games in 2023. So now it'll be the NFC. So basically, what they're saying is that they added another interconference game, based on last year's standings, but they're rotated every 4 years. All right, meaning that the Cowboys were in first place, they would play the Chiefs in first place, as every 4 years if they're in first place. So they can get the last 2 interconference games, or the last 3, which makes 17. Do make it a little awkward and weird as far as it goes, but it's all right. Okay? Now, that's just basically the rules on it. Okay? I'm not really going to get too much into it. Just thought that it would be important for you guys to know before you actually go and watch it and wonder, I wonder how that worked out. Well, that's how it works out. Then it's just about putting it with the calendar and kind of going from there. All right? Perfect. All right. So now we're going to start off with the AFC, and I'm going to start off with the AFC East. So as you can see here next to me, I do have Buffalo going in first, Miami going in second, New York Jets in third, and of course New England in fourth. Now, why did I do that? Simple. The Bills are still very strong in the division. And like I've said before, with Stephon Diggs out of the picture, maybe this new look offense is going to be just exactly what they need to maybe be different. All right? Miami lost a lot of pieces in the offseason, and although they did a great job to replace them, we don't know if they're going to actually mesh and actually going to be worthwhile. So, plus, I feel like they're still not going to be over the hump of beating Buffalo. Plain and simple. Now, with the Jets being in third place, this is one of those teams where they could easily go out and win the division. But are they? Do you trust them enough to do that? Unfortunately, I don't. It's the Jets. And of course, New England is in fourth place simply because they do have a rookie quarterback, a rookie head coach. They're just trying to get stuff together. Give them some time. All right. Now, talking about the Buffalo Bills' most exciting games that I'm actually excited for, number 1 is the Chiefs. Like I said, this new look Bills are going to be able to beat them and rewrite their history, or is it going to be more of the same? I want to see the Lions game simply because I firmly believe that the Lions are going to be contenders. This is a great way to really test them. And of course, the Texans versus the Bills. Texans are one of the most improved teams in the league. Can they beat the Bills and continue rising the way we expect them to? And of course, some of the boring games for the Bills are going to be like the Jaguars, the Titans. They're going to be very dull. But both teams can be good, but, it's going to be 50-50. For the Dolphins, I'm really excited to see, obviously, against the Texans, the Browns, the Chiefs. Kind of the Chiefs being a replay of the playoff game. The Browns have so much drama there, and of course, the Texans being as good as they are, they could do things. All right, we could see some crazy stuff going on there. Now, Some of the boring games I see, the Raiders, the Cardinals, those two don't have real. The Raiders don't have a real quarterback. The Cardinals are 50-50 on everything else, and of course the 49ers I believe are going to be good enough to really hurt them, which in turn it's going to be a blowout. For the Jets, I'm excited to see the Broncos play against them simply because it's Zach Wilson's return. All right, I firmly believe that it's going to be interesting if Zach Wilson does decide to start. If not, Bo Nixon's still going to be kind of interesting. All right. Another one that some of the boring ones, obviously 49ers, Cardinals, Titans, again, same reason as before. The New England Patriots, the exciting game, I want to see the Broncos and the Bears. Bo Nix against Drake May, Bo Nix against the Williams, the quarterbacks that were drafted in this year's draft going against each other. It's going to be interesting. But because they're so young, they're still so wondering what's happening. I think the 49ers Texans games are going to be pretty boring there because they're probably going to get blown out. Moving on to the North. So in first place, I got Baltimore. And, I'm going to do a little bit different. I'm going to explain why they're in that spot and their games. Okay? Then make it go a little bit faster for y'all. So, number one, I have Baltimore. Okay? Simply put, they got in all the pieces. All right? Oh, most of the pieces with like Derrick Henry. They've added in the draft and all season. So I think this might be the year that they can take that extra leap. All right. Plus, this division, with the Bengals always injured, Pittsburgh Steelers kind of in quarterback limbo, and the Browns being the Browns, it's easy for them to really steal this division. Now, one of the games that I'm really excited for is when they play at the Chiefs on the first game of the season on Thursday Night Football. Two-time Super Bowl MVP Patrick Mahomes against two-time MVP Lamar Jackson. Derrick Henry's debut with the Ravens. It's going to be interesting. Very, very interesting. Very exciting. One of the boring games, two actually, will be the Broncos and the Raiders. And possibly the Commanders. I think they're all going to be their quarterbacks aren't ready for the type of defense the Ravens have. Because of that, it's just going to be it's boring to watch, basically. At number 2, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. I firmly believe that the Bengals can win this division if everyone stays healthy. But that's an if, a big if. Since I have that if, I have to put them in second place. Plain and simple. Now, the games that I'm excited to see them is obviously against the Chiefs. They play at the Chiefs. And I'm kind of excited to see them play the Eagles at Philadelphia and in Dallas. It's going to be really interesting how they play that. Both Dallas and the Eagles are going to be playoff contenders. All right, we all know that. And really, this kind of game can decide who moves forward with the division. And obviously, the Chiefs, it's just going to be another test for them. Obviously, the boring games are going to be games like the Broncos, the Raiders, the Patriots. All right, young, unexperienced quarterbacks or second-string quarterbacks. Really nothing fancy to look at. Obviously, number 3, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay, now I put them at 3 because of the quarterback carousel. Yes, they said that Russell Wilson is starting, but we are not 100% sure if he's going to be able to take and understand what Mike Tomlin wants to do. I firmly believe that Mike Tomlin is someone that can make him do it and will be able to get it done. But until it's truly done and we can see it on the field, it's going to be a 50-50 split on it. Because of that, they're in third place for me. Now, I'm excited to relive the rivalry of the Cowboys against the Steelers. That's always a fun one. It goes back for years. Come on. It's years and years and years of excitement. Let's be serious. Come on. Who's not excited for that? All right. Obviously, against the Chiefs, it's just going to be one of those games. And I'm not excited to see the Broncos, Raiders, or Colts face them. I don't believe that they're going to be anywhere near what they could be. And, of course, in fourth place, I got the Cleveland Browns. Look, it's Deshaun Watson's time. Can he prove himself? I firmly believe he cannot. He's not the same quarterback he was when the Texans drafted him. I also firmly believe that when he was with the Texans, the division, the AFC South was actually quite crappy, all right, and easily winnable for them, even as untalented as they were in most areas. So, again, I don't believe that he's going to be able to beat this division. Now, obviously, I'm excited to see them play against the Chiefs. You go back to the 2017 draft, Patrick Mahomes, no one really gave him his 2 cents. Watson came into this as a perennial quarterback, thinking that he was going to be one of the top picks. Mahomes ended up going first, then Watson. So it's going to be interesting. Obviously, against the Ravens, a division foe. And I'm also excited to see the Chargers, see how that plays out. Every other game is just going to be kind of a toss-up, so it's going to be kind of boring. Now we're going to go to the AFC South. So the South is interesting because I have the Houston Texans at 1. But if maybe they stretched out towards the end, Jacksonville can easily take the division. And of course, you have Indianapolis that could also take it. So for now, I'm going to put Texans at 1, Jacksonville at 2, and the Colts at 3. But do not be surprised if something like that changes. So for the Texans, I'm excited to see them play the Chiefs. The dynasty against the future. How are they going to play out? And obviously, they play the Cowboys this year, the Texas Showdown. Who is going to be the new boss in the state of Texas? I'm not excited to see them play the Bears, the Vikings, the Patriots, young quarterbacks. We're just going to have to see how it kind of plays out. Jacksonville, I'm excited to see the Patriots play them. Mac Jones returns to his old team. We all know he's not going to start because T-Law is a starter, but still interesting. And obviously the Bills, who have done a lot to change, but can they do enough to change the past? This is a perfect test for them. And obviously every other game is a toss-up. The Colts, again, I'm excited to see C.J. Stroud against against Richardson. It's gonna be interesting. He didn't play a lot last year. He's finally back and healthy. Can he do this? And then, of course, you got the Titans, the Patriots, the Broncos. Those are games that are gonna be boring for me. And of course, in last place, I have the Tennessee Titans. Look, I don't believe in Will Levis. I don't think they did anything in the draft or in the offseason to improve themselves. Maybe with at coaching, maybe, but that's a big, giant maybe. So, really at the end of it, I don't think they're going to be anything but just a team that that other teams have to get passed by. All right? I'm not excited for any of their games. I'm not even, most of them are going to be boring, in all honesty. I think the Titans aren't going to do much. And now for the AFC West. Starting off with, of course, number 1, the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not even going to go into it. They win it every year. You know this. Come on. It is what it is. Now, like I said, one of the main games, there are 3 main games that I'm really excited for with the Chiefs. Obviously, the Texans, like I said, the dynasty versus the future. Now, you got the first game of the season, Lamar against Mahomes, 2-time MVP, 2-time Super Bowl MVP. Who's going to win? Is this a matchup that we're going to see in the AFC Championship once again? Who knows? Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. See? That's what we have to see. But it could be a prevalent into what we're going to see in the future. And then, of course, the playoff rematch against the Dolphins. That's going to be an interesting. And honestly, every other game outside of those are just going to be kind of just, all right, you got to get through. At number 2, you got the Los Angeles Chargers, okay? You got the Ravens, the Bengals, the Browns, MVP against a new stacked offense for Herbert. Burrow against Herbert, a new offense for Herbert. You got Watson against Herbert. It's just going to be the Chargers' schedule against quarterbacks are going to be interesting and good top defenses, which I firmly believe the Ravens and the Browns have really top defenses. So with new coach, new everything, it's going to be interesting. And of course, every other game I think is going to be pretty boring. At number 3, I actually have the Raiders at number 3. Look, I don't think they should have gotten a quarterback. They didn't. They still got weapons. I'm still happy with most of the stuff that they did. So because of not getting a quarterback, I'm not really excited to see any games. But most of the games I think are going to be, I don't want to say boring, but I do want to be like, you're going to pick in the top 10 next year. And of course, at number 4, you got the Denver Broncos. Bo Nix is probably going to start. Zach Wilson is your backup. He could even start. Rookie quarterbacks, yes, you got Sean Payton. That's not meaning much. All right? If Bo Nix strikes great and it's a win, bam, you're good. But if he doesn't, you have Zach Wilson as your backup. And of course, I'm excited. The only game I'm excited to see for the Broncos is against the Jets. All right? Zach Wilson's return, if he's starting, it's going to be interesting. But we'll have to wait and see. Now time for the NFC. So obviously you have to start in the East with the NFC East. Number 1, obviously I have the Philadelphia Eagles winning. Look, they did everything. Okay? Plain and simple, they did everything. All right? Enough said for that. No one's won the division back-to-back since 2003, 2004. Eagles did it then. I don't see it happening again. I'll talk about the Cowboys in a second. So, yeah, the Eagles are going to win it. They did everything right. All right? The games that obviously I'm excited for is going to be against the Cowboys. The Eagles and the Cowboys always split the 2 games. Jalen Hurts has never beaten Dak Prescott at home. Dak Prescott has never lost to the Eagles at home. So, again, it's kind of one of those things. I'm actually excited to watch him play against the Packers and the Bengals. All 3 quarterbacks, Burrow, Jordan Love, and Jalen Hurts were drafted in the 2020 draft. So it's going to be nice to see, how they've gone from there to now and how they've evolved. Obviously, the Giants, the Saints, the Panthers games are going to be boring. The Giants are going to be a walk in the park for them. The Saints could be contenders in their division, but I doubt it. And obviously the Panthers have a second-year quarterback that's probably going to get wrecked. At number 2, I have not my Cowboys. I have the Washington Commanders. Look, the Commanders did everything you needed to do to show that, hey, I am worth a damn. And that's exactly what they did. They went out, got a brand new coach. Dan Quinn was a great coaching hire. They basically took everybody from the Cowboys and just went out. Now they have a good quarterback in Jaden Daniels and Cliff Kingsbury as their OC. They deserve this number 2 spot. All right? Because of Jaden Daniels, I'm actually excited to see the Ravens against the Bears, against the Commanders. Number 1 pick against the number 2 pick. Who really was meant to be the number 1 pick here? Was this Jaden Daniels? Was Williams? What could happen here? Obviously, I'm excited to see them against the Cowboys. Dan Quinn's return to Dallas. Is it going to be bad blood? What's going on? And I don't see any boring games here. Honestly, I think all the games for the Commanders are going to be interesting, given how young and inexperienced they are. Obviously, at number 3, I have my Dallas Cowboys. Look, they did nothing in free agency. They did add some key pieces in the draft, which I'm happy about. But it's literally more of the same for the Cowboys. So I'm not really I don't think they're going to do well. I think we're going to pick in the top 15 this year. I don't believe that we're going to be bad, but I don't believe we're going to be good enough to win the division or even, be a perennial Super Bowl contender. I think we can be a wild card maybe if Washington doesn't, go above and beyond. But in the end, I don't firmly believe that we deserve the second or even the first spot. Now, I am excited to see them play the Texans, Texas Showdown, and obviously the Lions, the revenge game for the Lions. It's going to be interesting. I'm not excited, and I think the 49ers game is going to be boring. They wreck us every year. What makes this any different? The Panthers, the Giants are all going to be also pretty boring games. And of course, in the fourth spot, we have the New York Giants. Look, yes, they did some things for Daniel Jones, but do you really trust him? I don't. I think there'll be more of the same for them. And honestly, the only game I'm excited for them is the Panthers and the Falcons, because I think those are going to be very much winnable games for the Giants. Everything else is going to be a wreck for them. I firmly believe it. Now for the North, at number 1, of course, I have the Detroit Lions. They just made Jared Goff one of the richest quarterbacks per year. In the NFL, which is great. I believe he deserves it. I think that was a great win for them, and it really gives that offensive nucleus a solid point. All right, hence why I firmly believe they're gonna win the division, and they're my number 1. But I am really excited to watch them play the Cowboys again. Revenge game, we know that. Obviously, the division games are going to be interesting. The Packers games are always fun and interesting. The Chicago Bears with the rookie quarterback, same with the Vikings. It's just going to be an interesting thing. I also am excited to see Rams play against the Rams. Jared Goff returns to his old team. Sam Bradford. Yeah, Sam Bradford. Yeah, come back to the Lions. Just basically, the trade is really connected there. And then the 49ers, okay? It's an NFC title rematch. Now, it's a rematch from last year, but is it a future setup to what's going to happen again? Maybe. I firmly said that they're going to play. That's going to be our NFC title game this year, but they're going to play it in Detroit. And obviously, every other game I think is going to be pretty boring for them, especially the Titans game. At number 2, I have the Green Bay Packers. Look, Jordan Love has evolved to this impressive feat to be the quarterback for them. All right? I'm excited for that, and I'm excited to see them move forward. Now, did I think they did enough by adding into the running back room and defense in the draft? Yes. Is it going to be enough to surpass the Lions? No. It's still going to be a tight one for them, but I think the Lions are going to inch them out. Now, I am excited to watch them play the Lions, simply because if they split the series, then, other games that they play could be the factor of seeing who wins the division, or do they lose in Detroit but win in Green Bay? No, kind of what's going to happen. I'm really excited for that. And every other game, it's not that I'm not excited for, it's going to be boring. It's just, it's just going to be kind of typical games. Obviously, the Chicago Bears, rookie quarterback in Williams. No, is he really the next second coming of Jesus Christ? Who knows? It's going to be interesting to see what happens there. They did load up in all areas. Again, we're going to have to wait and see. Of course, I'm excited to see them play the Commanders in the number 1 pick against the number 2 pick. The division games, can they win those? Are they not going to win them? And of course, playing against J.J. McCarthy is going to be another interesting one. And of course, in last place, I have the Minnesota Vikings. Look, J.J. McCarthy, he's in a great spot, but I firmly believe that it's just going to take some time. That is all. That's the only reason why I have him in 4th place. I think they're in a great situation. It's just going to take time for him to learn and understand the NFL level. That is all. All right? Obviously, the division games are going to be exciting. I'm excited to see the Falcons game. Cousins returns to Minnesota. Everything else is going to be kind of boring simply because, hey, rookie quarterback against experienced defenses like the 49ers and even the Cardinals. So it's going to be kind of a blowout kind of situation. Now, one of the most interesting divisions in the NFL, in this NFC South, just like in the AFC South, it's really up in the air. All right. Tampa, Atlanta, New Orleans, all can easily win it. But I firmly believe at number 1, I'm going to have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. At number 2, Atlanta Falcons. And number 3, the New Orleans Saints. Now, why do I say that? Why do I put them in that order and yet say that it can be go any place? Because that's how it was last year. That's has been the past 2 years. Atlanta has had a shot to win the division, and then last minute the Bucs take it over and they win it. And vice versa. The Bucs were great. They lose it. Atlanta takes it for a little bit. The Saints take it for a little bit. It's up in the air. Neither team is gonna. It's one of those teams that it's like, okay, it's always solidified. No, it can go for any other situation. Now, like I said, at number 1, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Look, they re-signed Baker Mayfield. They re-signed Mike Evans. They re-signed Andrew Whitfield. Yeah, with Andrew Whitfield Jr. All great situations. Exactly what they needed. And because of those signings, I'm excited to see the division game against the Falcons. I firmly believe that the winner of those games are going to decide the division, because the division is going to go down between the Falcons and the Buccaneers. Now, number 2, I said I have the Atlanta Falcons. Look, they added Kirk Cousins, exactly what they needed. They already had a solid offensive line, solid weapons, a great defense, a great running game. Quarterback was the only thing missing. Because of this, I have him at number 2. But because of them drafting Michael Penix Jr., that's going to cause some concerns. Again, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, the Bucs games, I'm excited to see. Like I said already, it's going to decide the division. And against the Vikings, Cousins returned to Minnesota. No, it's going to be interesting. And every other game is going to be like, eh. At number 3, I have the New Orleans Saints. Look, they're still in cap space hell. I don't feel like they did much in the draft. Derek Carr is just Derek Carr. So overall, I'm just kind of like, you're going to beat the Panthers, but that's about it. And honestly, I'm not excited for any games for the Saints. It's going to be boring. And of course, in last place, I have the Carolina Panthers. Yes, did they do everything they needed to do in the offseason and draft to make the team better? Yes. Will the team get better? I don't think so. I don't trust Bryce Young. He should have never been the number 1 pick. I made that mistake by saying he should be. I got kind of stuck in the Alabama idea, and obviously that was wrong on my part. So because of that, it's gonna be where they're at. All right. Now I am excited to see them play the Bears. Battle of the number 1 picks. Everything else is just gonna be, can Bryce Young actually evolve into the number 1 pick they want him and need him to be? And at the final division, we have the NFC West. At number 1, obviously, I have the San Francisco 49ers. Look, they're the same thing they were last year. All right. They added a lot of pieces in the draft and in the offseason. They're poised to be the perennial winners of the NFC to go into the Super Bowl if the Lions aren't, have something else to say about it. So it's going to be interesting, but they're going to easily win this division. Obviously, I'm excited to watch them play the Rams simply because of the fact that the Rams did everything right, and they're the only team that I firmly believe in this division that could take the division away from them. So it's going to be interesting to watch those games. Obviously, the Cowboys game, it's a playoff rematch. The Cowboys kryptonite here. They always wreck us. It's just, and of course the history that comes in there. And obviously the Super Bowl rematch with the Chiefs, that's going to be another interesting. Are they going to be able to say, hey, we're good enough to finally beat them? Or is it going to be, which team is ready for the next level? Are the Chiefs still good? Or are the 49ers even better? We're going to have to wait and see. Now, number 2, I have the Los Angeles Rams. Again, the Rams did everything right. And I firmly believe, I'm going to say this 1,000,001 times, that they're the only team that could beat the Rams and take the division from them. The Rams can beat the 49ers and take the division. But we're going to have to wait and see of how that's going to work out. All right. Can they do it? Yes. Will they do it? We're going to have to wait and see. Obviously, the 49ers games are going to be exciting because it could decide the division. And obviously, against the Lions, Goss returns to LA. His old team that drafted him, how that's going to happen, especially now with this new massive contract. It's going to be interesting. And every other game is going to be kind of boring. At number 3, I have the Seattle Seahawks. Look, Geno Smith needs to prove why they kept him. Will he? I don't know. New coach. He's going to pick up that defense, and the defense is going to keep him in games. But the question here is offense. Can that offense continue and actually be worth the damn? We're going to have to wait and see. But that's why I have him at 3rd. All right? Now, there's no real games that I'm excited for. Honestly, I think all of them are going to be pretty bland for the Seattle Seahawks. But they could surprise us. You never know. And, of course, last place, I have the Arizona Cardinals. Look, I don't trust Kyler Murray. I don't trust anything that's going on there. Yes, I've said this before, that they've had really amazing drafts, which it's true, they did, but it hasn't translated to wins in the field. All right? Until that happens, they're just going to be the perennial mat on the floor for the rest of the NFC West. Now, I am excited to see them play the Commanders, Kingsbury versus Murray, and then, of course, against the Panthers, the battle of the number 1 pick. But outside of that, I think everything's going to be pretty boring. Although, they have surprises in the past, so you never know. You never know. But Panda, take us to our next thing. Well, that is all the time that we have. I thank you so much for listening, and as we wrap up this episode of Sports Unlimited, I really hope you enjoyed my division standing. It's interesting to see how especially the NFC and the AFC South are going to turn out, because they are so turmoil divisions that at any time, one of 3 teams can win it, because the other teams end up faltering towards the end of the season. It happens every time. Happened to Jacksonville last year. And they've all done things to improve, like legitimately improve themselves. So it's going to be interesting. And then you have other divisions where, like the AFC West, where the Chiefs are going to win it. It's a no-duh place. Why are we even talking about this? So it's going to be interesting. Do let me know about the games that you're excited to see, what games you're kind of not excited to see, you wish they were playing somebody else, or why the games that I picked are right, why am I wrong, or what games that I miss that maybe are more exciting than before. All right? Let me know. But as always, guys, thank you for joining us on this journey of speculation, analysis, excitement. If you enjoyed today's episode, as always, guys, subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your feedback is invaluable as we continue to bring the latest and greatest in sports. As always, guys, this is Hershey signing off from Sports Unlimited. Until next time, sports fans, stay passionate and see you next time.